Hey guys, welcome back to the Pruning Podcast. I'm your host, Ataya Smith, and welcome back, guys. Happy Tuesday. This episode I actually filmed yesterday if you're watching this. Life has been crazy. And I'm back with another solo episode. I like doing solo episodes just so like we can do like a debrief on the previous episodes and just so I can just give y'all like a little life update. Because normally when I have guests, like I'm talking with the guests, but I just want to say thank y'all for all of the new subscribers, all of the new followers. Like, it means the world to me that y'all like listening to my podcast. Because I honestly I'm a podcaster, but like I don't think of myself as a podcaster. I just think of myself as like talking about the things I love, and that's Jesus. So yeah, guys. So let's see. So last time we talked, it was the first of the year, the first month in the year, and we were talking about starting things and finishing them to the end. I gave y'all like a life update on everything that was going on. And then I just let y'all know like my word for the year is fruitful. And that came from John 15, basically how like God is telling us is basically about the pruning podcast, how every like battle in life or like hardship is only to like make us better and prune us to bear more fruit and be fruitful. And so my year for 2025 was fruitfulness. And so, yeah, that was the last episode we had an update on. And then me and my mom had a episode, and we talked all about, my previous situationship. We talked about that. We talked about like trust, which is like a very like big thing in this generation. Like, it's really hard to trust people, especially whenever they do you wrong. And I feel like the biggest lesson I've learned from that season of life is it can be very easy to make the gifts God has given us idols in our lives. And sometimes, like the story of Abraham and Isaac, he will cause us to sacrifice those gifts, and he's just seeing if it has truly become an idol. Because if it's become an idol, you're like, God, I don't want to let this go. If it hasn't become an idol, then you're like, okay, like you can take it. And so I think a lot of times we like take gifts God has given us and idolize them. Me, hints, I learned that. And I feel like if it wasn't for that season, if it wasn't for that month of December, I wouldn't have learned that. So I honestly think like every hardship is a lesson, because if we don't go through it, I wouldn't have learned that. So we talked about that on that episode. Me and my mom also talked about like how like I've always been the Christian girl. I've just never been that person that wanted to explore worldly things. I've just always wanted to stay consistent on my walk with God. And like, of course, it wasn't perfect. Like, I had my uphills, downfalls. But many people like have the perception that like just because like I don't do like bad things necessarily, or like, they don't see the bad of my life, that I'm perfect, all this kind of stuff. So we talked about that, and it's not that I'm perfect. It's just that I learned really well from people's mistakes. And like, God clearly tells us the only thing the world can offer us is temporary satisfaction, and God offers eternal satisfaction. Like, all of my friends who have been one foot in, one foot out have told me, I have so many friends and acquaintances, and I don't think not one of my friends was like, yeah, Taya, that left me like so fulfilled. And so for me, I just learned that I don't want temporary satisfaction. I want eternal satisfaction, and that's only found with God. And I'm going to be the first to admit, like, being a Christian is sometimes boring because it's not popular. You sometimes want to fit in with the world. If we're being honest, we want to do the things that are popular to the world. And so most people think it's easy breezy for me, which that's not always the case. And then my most recent episode was with Lex and Co. Shout out to them. I love them. But we talked about their relationship. We talked about breakups. We talked about what else we talked about? We talked about breakups. We talked about idolizing. We talked about what else we talked about? We talked about just like a life update on them and like everything they have going on. And most people have this misconception about Christianity, and like Lex and Co. If you watched our episode, they told us how like their life literally did a 360 whenever they gave their life to Jesus, and they literally blew up on social media, and so many people are like, that's fake, that's not real, like she's not truly changed. And it's like, people don't think like Jesus literally changes your life 360. Like one day you can be 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and another day you can be 100% in for Jesus. And so we talked about that, and then we talked about idolization again. I guess that's just a big topic because, you know, a lot of girls idolize guys and we just don't see it. And it's probably vice versa for guys. We talked about like how God does so much in the alone season. Like whenever we are alone, like that's our time to depend on God and like give all of that to Him. And then I think another favorite thing we talked about is me and Lex were both reading the book. It's like Pray for Him, and it's Pray for Him, basically. That's the name of the book. And basically in the book, like I feel like God has just convicted me in so many ways of this that like I feel like everyone in this world, a lot of people have this thing of like, God, I want you to forgive me when I mess up, but I don't want to have to forgive him whenever he messes up. And that was honestly me. I'm like, God, like, I just get irritated when people mess up around me. And it's like, I just want to condemn them and be like, oh my gosh, like, why are you doing this? But it's like, no, God, like, help me show people the same grace you give me whenever I mess up. And God really convicted me on that because it's like, how can I feel like I'm worthy of forgiveness and grace when I don't think anyone else is? And so I was very convicted on that just from that book. It's such a good book and I'm still reading it. And also that like there's so many things that we want to change about someone, but it's like we're so quick to tell someone all the things they need to change instead of like bringing it to God. And how prayer should be our first resort, not last resort, because I am guilty number two. Like sometimes I can be like, put prayer on the last of the to-do list. I'm like, God, I just need him to do all these things. But it's like, have you prayed about it? And the honest question is no. And now we're in the middle of February, guys. And that's where we're at today. But that's just a quick debrief of all the episodes. I honestly think like this year, the Pruning Podcast is going to be some of the best episodes because I've just been like learning and like I just love podcasting because it's not even like it's for y'all to see or y'all to hear. It's like, no, like these messages are for me. I'm like, wow, like thank you, God. I needed this. And I just love learning from people. So yeah, so life update. Let's see what has been going. I've been super busy. If you didn't know, I traveled to Dubai for 16 days. That was a very crazy experience. It's my second time going to Dubai, but I've never in my life left for that long. So that was very interesting, but it was super fun and I'm super grateful. And like during that, if you've never been to Dubai, it's like, y'all, it's literally like a 12-hour time difference. And so it's like whenever it's morning over here, it's night over there. Whenever it's night over there, it's morning over here, vice versa. So that, and I also feel like life updates in regards to that, I feel like God has been like pruning me because it's like, I was just talking to my friend about this. Like, it's just like obedience. Like, you know, partial obedience is the same thing as disobedience. So if you're like partially obeying God, then like you're disobeying him. And like when you fully obey him, then like you're doing it. And I've learned that I have this thing of like, I'll do like something partially. And like this year, I'm working on changing that. I'm working on pursuing things to the fullest. Because a lot of us, we can be like, I'll do this halfway. Like, I'll like be halfway. I'll be 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I mean, that wasn't me. I think my partial obedience was like trusting God. Because God's like, Ataya, like, do this, this, and this for your podcast or for your work. And I'm like, I'll do this, not this, this, and this. And God really convicted me on that. So that, and then also, oh my gosh, y'all, this was another big realization I had. Okay, so I have been really seeking God this past month on like clarity in like different areas of my life. You know, like a lot of us, we can like be like, God, like if this is from you, like, can I have clarity? Like, God, like, I just need clarity. I need clarity. Like a lot of us, we pray for clarity. And God really convicted my heart. He didn't really convict my heart, but he just like showed me something. And of course, let's see if I can find it on my phone because it was on my phone. And I forgot my cards, which it's fine. Let's do clarity. Okay. So it's like I feel like I've been in a season of God, like I need clarity on like what to do for the situation. Like what to do in this friendship, what to do in this relationship, what to do with my job. Like I just need you to like speak to me in clarity. And so it's like whenever we're praying for clarity, it's like you can't just like pray for something. Like in the Bible it says faith without works is dead. And so you have to put in the works. And then Hebrew 11:1 says, faith shows the reality of what we hope for. It is the evidence of things we cannot see. Therefore, if you're praying for clarity in something, like you have to be willing to take a step. Like God's not just going to be like, I mean, he may just give you a dream and that's the clarity you need. But like you can't pray for clarity and not take a step. And what I've learned is a lot of people spend their whole life waiting for clarity before they take action. And I was a lot of people. I'm like, I'm not going to take a step until God gives me 100% clarity on this. And y'all, that's not the way to go, because then it's like, okay, God, I have no faith, because in reality, you cannot see faith, if that makes sense. Therefore, you're never gonna like see the whole path. He, like in Matthew 5, it says like he lights a lamp. And so like I remember hearing Sadie Robertson's analogy of it, like back in the day, like whenever they wrote this, like a lamp was like just supposed to like guide you one step at a time. And so clarity is about taking the first step and taking a leap of faith. And like you're never gonna be like, I feel like I was scared of completely being outside the will of God. I'm like, God, I want to do everything I can to stay in your will. And so, like, y'all, there's grace. You're not just going to do the wrong thing. And he's like, no, you're outside. No, he's like, I will realign your steps. So it's like, if we never take steps of clarity, if we never take steps, then we're never going to get clarity. And that was me. I just wasn't taking steps. And so I had the analogy, like it's just like fog, like you can't see much, but you just got to keep walking. Like I'm going to take one step at a time and like see God on this. And if I step the wrong way, he will realign my paths. And that's just something I've been coming to terms with, because I'm a person who needs to see the whole plan. And I've learned that that's not always a good thing, because then it's like I will never step out in faith. I will never do anything that I can't see the whole path of, with which isn't always good. So that's something I've been learning. What else have I been learning? Let's talk about being a light in the dark world, okay? So people have this, I feel like I'm talking so fast, but it's fine. I'm going to slow down because I'm just a fast talker. But people have this thing of, I've been getting really irritated. One, let's talk about the Avery Woods situation on TikTok. I don't know if y'all have been up to date on that, but I got convicted on this. But so I don't know if y'all know who Avery Woods is, but she's a famous influencer on TikTok, and she like blew up overnight. And like at first I wouldn't say she's like a Christian, but like at first she was like thanking God for her platform. So it's like, I would think like she has some sort of foundation. I thought so. But anyway, so recently, Friday, she has a podcast, and a video out of her podcast came out, and she was literally like cursing Jesus. And she was like, I'm sorry that y'all didn't get my joke. It was just a joke. And like she's been getting like a lot of like hate. And so I feel like I realized that a lot of us, we hold unbelievers to the same expectation as we hold Christians. And it's like unbelievers don't know the word of God. And so God gives, like we get grace, but God gives grace to those who don't know his word. And he even says that in the Bible, like they have like more, like she's not, it would be different if this was a Christian doing this, but she's never said she was a Christian or she believed in God. So it doesn't make it right, but it's still like, who are we to condemn her? She doesn't know. And so that's been a big thing. And so that goes into being a light in the dark world. I feel like my mom always says that Christians have this thing of being like religious folks. And I feel like that's what we're dealing with now, is like people that are too religious. Like it's religion and not relationship. And it's never supposed to be like that. Like, for example, it's like the controversy with like religious people that are like, oh my gosh, I can't like hang out with sinners. Oh my gosh, I can't go to Target. Oh my gosh, I can't do this. Oh my gosh, I can't do that. And it's like in Matthew 5, like Jesus literally says, you are the light of the world. Okay. So why would Christians, us, the light of the world, retreat from dark places like the unbelievers and or like the stores that don't necessarily have the light of Jesus? Like just because like you shop at a store, or like let's just say just because you hang out with unholy friends does not mean you're unholy. Like your holiness has it all about to do like Jesus in your heart than it is your surroundings. And I feel like religious people have this connotation that like, oh my gosh, you're hanging out with her, like you're not holy, you're unrighteous. Oh my gosh, you're going to this store, you're unholy, you're not righteous, and that's not right. Like then you're just saying like what makes you holy is the place, and that's not necessarily true. Like not every person that goes to church is holy, you know? And so I feel like we have this thing of I feel like all the Christians are trying to retreat from the dark places, like run away from the dark places. And it's like, if we don't bring light to these places, then who will? Like, God calls us to be the light of the world. Most people don't understand that Jesus literally ate with sinners. And it's like, he didn't sit here and like take advice from them or, you know, like follow them, but he ate with them. Like, he didn't act better than them. And a lot of people act better than the sinners. And it's like, it's not supposed to be like that. Like, I have friends who don't fully know Jesus. I still hang out with them. I'm not going to sit here and be like, ew, I can't hang out with you. I'm a Christian. Like, no, that's why people have this stigma of Christians because of religious people. And it's just annoying. And so it's like whenever you go to a store, people are like, oh my gosh, you shop at Target? Like, you support what they do? Like, I mean, yes, you technically support it whenever you're buying into it, but it's like all about your heart. So if your heart is, I don't want to like leave all these dark stores to just be darkness. I want to show the love of Jesus. Like we literally went and put note cards in Target. And it's like Christians, the body, we need to be like making a difference and not running away from the dark, if that makes sense. So that's something God spoke to me because a lot of us, we struggle with being like in the world, but not of the world, you know? So it's like, how do we be in the world, but not of the world? And it's like the only way people will know you are different is by your light, by your fruits, by Jesus. So like, let's just do things that honor God and not be so stigmatized as Christians. So that's one thing. That's another thing I've been getting because it's honestly aggravating. Just like all over social media, like all the hate, like, and like Christians are like, oh my gosh, I hate social media. Like it's so negative. And like this is for the person. If you're like, I like hate social media, it's so toxic. Maybe it's because who you follow. Because my social media is like so positive. Like, of course, like every now and then you scroll against things that are like, why am I seeing this? But like social media is not a negative thing. Like that's our place to like reach the unbelievers, and most people just have not come to terms with that. They're just like, I hate social media, so I'm never gonna be on social media. And it's like, who are you following? Because you can choose who you follow and who's positive on there. I mean, on TikTok, it's your algorithm, but Instagram and all that, it's that. And so let's just be in the world, but not of the world. Like, let's be a light in the dark place, because that's what we're called to be. So clarity, being a light. Also, I've been like getting not convicted on, but God has been teaching me like a lot of people like you don't think you are, but I'm trying to like come to do this thing to where it's like my phone is like not the first thing I pick up in the morning. So I'm like in the process of ordering a hatch, and if you don't know, those things are like $180. And I told myself I will not order that until I consecutively like pick up my Bible first instead of my phone. Like I sleep with my phone like across my room. And so, like, I have an alarm, but, like, I'm trying to do this thing to where it's, like, I turn off my alarm and pick up my Bible, if that makes sense. So, anyways, I told myself I will not buy a hatch until I consecutively pick up my Bible first and read it before my phone for 2 weeks. Because it's, like, how can I expect a hatch to make a difference? I need a routine, a habit. And so, whatever. So, a lot of us, we pick up our phones, And like the first thing we do is scroll on social media, we scroll on TikTok, and it's like it can get so easy to like compare the things God is doing in your life to someone else's life. And I'm guilty of that. I have like I don't want to say a hard time, but like sometimes I can find myself like comparing my journey or like my walk with other people's. And I've learned that it's not like a healthy thing, because whenever we compare like what God has given us to like other people, then it's like you're forgetting all God has done, if that makes sense. Like in the Bible, he literally says comparison is the thief of joy. So it's like whenever we sit here and look at everybody else's things and we don't like thank God for what he's done in our life, then it's like we are never grateful, because it's the thief of joy. We're comparing it to other things. So comparison's another big one, y'all. Your girl's guilty of it. It's so easy. Like you don't even like know you're comparing yourself until you're like, God, why am I not there yet? Like, God, why don't I have this yet? And it's like okay to want those things. Pray about it. Don't sit here and like be like, oh my gosh, like I still don't have this, you know? Be grateful for what you have, because like I always say, you are in this certain season for a reason. Like this is either going to be your biggest blessing or your biggest blessing. Like either way it goes, this season you are in is purposeful. And I feel like I had to come to terms with that throughout life. Like the pruning seasons, they are so purposeful, because without them, I would not be where I'm at today. Like if my mom always says, like, God never misses a lesson. So it's like if you're in the same season, there's still a lesson to be learned. And until you learn that lesson, you're just going to keep circling like the Israelites. And so the biggest way to learn that lesson is like, what's the last thing God told you to, like, what's the last thing God told you to do that you didn't do? That's the biggest question. If you're like, I don't know, well then what's the last thing God told you to do? And he told you to do something, because you wouldn't be circling if you did what he told you to do. And I'm guilty of that, because I'm a very big procrastinator, and or I'm like, okay, God, I don't know, like, did you really say that, you know? And so been learning that. I've also been learning, I've been in a season of like, I'm trying to like, I guess like not be like secretive, but like kind of protect the blessings God has for me, because I feel like last year I learned like one, like my thing this year is I'm living for an audience of one. So I'm only looking to please one person, and that's God. And like man will never understand that. It doesn't matter if they're in the church, it doesn't matter if they're never going to understand that. And I feel like this year I'm truly trying to do that. And I've been trying to like be more, I don't want to say private, but not like tell my friends every single thing, or like everyone in the world, every single thing that's happening in my life. Like, of course I have like those friends that I tell, or like that community that I like entrust with it. Like I'm not just going to keep to myself, but I'm learning to like keep protected what God has given me, because y'all, as soon as you tell everyone else, then it's like you're letting room for the enemy to speak in. And it's not saying like those people are of the devil, or, you know, but it's like everyone always has their opinions. And just because they go to church or just because they're a leader doesn't necessarily mean they're giving you their advice. Sometimes they're giving you their own personal opinion. And I've learned that like anything God needs me to hear, like he's going to put those people that I trust at the right time to tell me, and the people I receive from. And so it's like whenever you just release it to the world, then you give room for the enemy to use anyone and everyone in the world to just speak into your relationships, speak into your friendships. And that's something I'm like walking through, because it's like, God, I'm living for your approval. So right now, I just need to entrust you with it. And whenever you release me to tell people, I will tell them. Because as soon as I tell everyone, then it's like the thoughts start coming in your head and you're like, did God really tell me this? They're like, Tay, I don't think you should do this. I don't think you should do that. Then it's like you're questioning what God told you. And so I've been learning that. What else I've been walking through? I've been walking through, honestly, a lot of different things. I mean, I talked about a lot of them. My next solo episode will be next month. So I'm trying to get all my things out. Friendships, y'all. Let's talk about last topic for this episode. These episodes, I was telling Riley, these episodes are always so short because it's by myself, and I just be giving y'all life updates just so y'all know. And so yeah, so friendships. Okay, let's talk about friends. So, soft subject, guys. So, I've learned, um, I don't know. In order to have good friends, you have to be a good friend yourself, okay? So, you can't ask God for God, give me yes, you can ask God for godly friendships. But it's like I've learned to become the friend you're looking for, if that makes sense. So like things I expect my friends to do for me, the kind of friendships I expect, I try to be those friends for one another. And I feel like a lot of people, they don't come to terms with that. It's like, God, I'm asking for, like, I want this in a friend. But it's like, what kind of friend are you? Like, what do you bring to the table? Because it's not fair for you to put an expectation on God to deliver you this kind of friend. But it's like the friend, they want a good friend too. And so it's like, that can go in any area of life. Like, become the person you're looking for, mainly friendships, because I feel like we need to do a better job on, like, I have very good friends. Like, I'm very grateful, but I just see a lot of people and a lot of like temporary friendships. And I've been given like such a great spirit of discernment. So I can like see when a friendship or anyone is off, when there's jealousy, whatever the case may be. And like my piece of advice would just be to like analyze like your friendships. Like I have three like really, 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 really close friends, like best friends, and then the rest are like best friends, but they're not like my best friends I get advice from, if that makes sense. They're just like best friends. And so I feel like I've been walking through that, like learning to like filter what I tell certain people, because like sometimes like you're not supposed to tell, like I just said, you're not supposed to tell everyone what God has told you, because then they can be like, are you sure God told you that? I tell you, I don't think so. So I've honestly been working on like filtering what I tell certain friends, because y'all, not all your friends are like your friends, you know, like some of them are jealous of you, some of them don't like you, and it's like like don't be so quick to tell everything, I guess. Like I don't want to say, cuz yeah, you want to be authentic to your friends, but I've just been learning not to give so much of yourself to people who don't value you, basically. Yeah, that's how we're going to say it. Like you are too valuable to like be treated like the bare minimum. Like you need a friend who is there at all times, like in the Bible, a friend who's closer than a brother. Like iron sharpens iron. Like I don't think I have a friendship, or my three closest friends, they all sharpen me, y'all. Like they literally call me out. Like they don't just agree with me, they're not just yes people. Like no, like one of my friends was like, Ataya, like I don't think you should say that, that's very manipulative. I was like, oh wow, thank you. Like you need friends who are going to call you, not who are going to call you out, who aren't just going to agree with you on everything. Because I'm just like, at first I was like, I just want friends who just like, you know, just make me, they just agree with me. I didn't literally say agree with me, but I just want friends who just make me feel better. And that, y'all, that's not your friend. Like, you want someone who's going to be truthful with you, who's going to be honest with you, like, whenever you're doing wrong. Like, you want someone who's truly going to help you grow. And I can admit, it is so hard to find real friends nowadays because everyone's fake. Like, we don't like fake people. And so, if you don't want fake friends, become the friend you're looking for. Work on yourself. Work on like being happy for people whenever it's not your season. Like work like whenever. Oh, that's another thing. But work on becoming the friend you're looking for. Okay. And then my last topic. I promise. This was just another thing. Um. Oh my gosh, I just forgot what I was gonna say. Oh my gosh, I just forgot. What was I? It was something along the lines of friendship. It was about me and Sheila was just talking about this because we felt, or it's just a big thing of um basically I feel like we have this trouble of like basically like being happy for people in the season they are in, if that makes sense. Like it can be so easy to get jealous when like God has answered like someone else's prayers, but not your prayers. For instance, like let's just say like you're praying for like a significant other, and then like you see your best friend, she has like a significant other, and it's like you have to pretend to be happy for her. Like, we shouldn't be pretending, but like learning to be happy in the season God has you in. Because some of us, we're like, God, like, I want a big platform. Like, God, I want a family. Like, God, I want this. God, I want that. But if God can't trust you with the little, like if you're ungrateful for what he has given you, like how can he trust you with the big? Like, how can he trust you with the platform when the 10 people in small group he's given you, you're ungrateful for? You're like, this isn't enough people. Like, what? And that's honestly something I've been learning, is to bloom in the season he's planted me in. So like, what has God giving me right now? Like, maybe God has given you 20 followers on Instagram and you're like, God, I want 1,000 followers. But he's like, how can I give you 1,000 whenever you don't even know how to act with the 20? Like, how are you going to deal with 1,000 if you can't be grateful for the 20? Then like, you're never going to be grateful. And that literally ties in with the light of the world and the being grateful for what you have. Because it's like, we keep asking God for these things and he like blesses us with them littles at a time. And we are like, no, this isn't enough. No, this isn't enough. No, this isn't enough. Like, I need more, I need more, I need more. And until you learn and become grateful for what God has given you, like, you're never gonna, like, you can have 100,000 followers and you're like, I need more. Like, until you're truly like grateful for the little you have, you like, he will never entrust you with enough. And I feel like a lot of us were like, God, like, I want to get married, or God, I want to be an influencer. I don't know what your dreams are. But it's like, he's like, I'm just going to use myself for example. Ataya, I've given you a small group with 5 girls to be intentional with. Like, why haven't you done that? Why do you expect me to give you more when you're not grateful for the 5 you already have? And so that was just a big conviction, because I feel like that's a lot of people, and that's me, like, not necessarily like social media, but it's just like, God, like, I'm praying for this, and it's like, it can become so easy to forget all he's done whenever we put our expectations on God. Because it's like, God, this is not what I expected. Like, I want what I want. I don't want what you want for me. And so, yeah, that's just something I've been learning. But that's pretty much it, guys. We talked about a lot of different subjects. I'm sorry for the rant, but this is just basically my devotionals these past, I think it's been almost a month. This past month since my solo episode, because you don't really get to hear about me unless I'm by myself, because I'm normally having a guest and we just talk about them and their life updates. But these are just some like little things to like remind yourself, I guess, like throughout like your walk with God. Like, not everything's going to be perfect. Learn to be grateful for what you have and in the season you are in, because it's a season for a reason. So this is not your destiny. This is not your end goal. It's literally a season. And so I've just been learning to be intentional with every season of life, truly every season, because it's a season. It's going to pass. So it's like, if you aren't intentional, then it's like it's never going to be enough for you. But yeah, all that to say, I love you guys so much. I cannot wait for y'all to watch these next few episodes. It's probably going to be another month and a half or a month before I do another solo episode. But I literally cannot wait for my next upcoming guest, because it's going to be amazing. We're going to be talking about becoming a Proverbs 31 woman. We're going to be talking about identity. And that's just a few things. So I'm just so excited. Thank y'all for watching the Pruning Podcast. If y'all can let me know some more topic ideas, that would be amazing, because I'm like, I don't know what to talk about. So if you have any specific topics that you want talked about, just comment below. But yes, guys, thank y'all for watching the Pruning Podcast. Like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see y'all next Tuesday.